ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I welcome all the devotees, guests for today's Sunday evening class. So yesterday was the most auspicious day of Ram Navami, the appearance of Lord Sri Ramachandra, and we decided to celebrate it today, being Sunday, so that many people can come. So like the beginning of this month, we celebrated the appearance day of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like this festival season is going on, and Narsingh Chaturdasi is also coming soon. So we see like the Lord appears again and again, and having some different motive. Like when he appeared as Lord Ramchandra, he wanted to establish, he wanted to show the people how an ideal king should be, or how the government should be. Like when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he showed how an ideal devotee should be, as I mentioned last time. So in this avatar, in this incarnation of Lord Ramachandra, the Lord is displaying the qualities of an ideal king. So he comes as a human being, and many of his pastimes, if you see, he displays as a human being, normal human being. There are few pastimes which he displays as the Supreme Personality. But if you see in the Leela of Krishna, in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, many of his pastimes are from the point of view of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so that's why you see in India, like many of them, they like Lord Ram very much than Krishna. Why? Because one is able to relate more, because he deals, like a normal human being. People are able to, and people make Lord Ram as the ideal. Like there is a statement called Rama Rajya in India. Like people want the kingdom or the country as it was during the presence of Lord Ram. But they forget that even the citizens during Lord Ram's, during the time of Lord Ram, the citizens were also pious. They were devotees, and the kings and the ministers were also devotees of the Lord. So that is what is missing. So if you see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when this pastime comes of Lord Ramchandra, so Sukdev Goswami mentions like the description of Lord Ram, it is just in the 2 chapters. So there is not much description. Sukdev Goswami mentions that because Parikshit Maharaj, this Bhagavatam was spoken in the Dwapar Yuga, and Ram Lord Chandra came in the Treta Yuga, so that was before that. And Ramayan so famous that like during that time, those times, each and every family knew the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. So Sukdev Goswami mentions that I am not again going to elaborate on the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. So that's why you see in the Srimad Bhagavatam it is not so much mentioned. And the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra is so enchanting. Like in India many years before, when there was no television, so these people, they wanted to introduce this concept of television in India. And because people were so much religious, they were only inclined to things which are concerned with religion. So what they decided to show some things which are connected to religion. So that's why Ramayana and Mahabharata, of course, these two are the very famous things, very famous, historical events. So they decided to show this. And if you like Google it, Ramayana, it's entered in the Guinness Book of Record for being most watched, epic. Because when it used to be telecasted in the television, the entire street used to be empty, literally empty. The buses, everything used to stop because for that 1 hour, people used to watch Ramayana. So that was the impact. But unfortunately, what happened? Because people got connected to television, so in between we have advertisements. So in between the advertisement and people they start watching this, and then you are connected to some other programs, and then slowly, the concept of spirituality began to reduce, and the other things came up. So television brought other things by the name of spirituality. But the point is that the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra is so attractive. Even now, I mean, like if it comes back again, people definitely there will be people who will be inclined to hear the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. And Prabhupada mentions that the pastimes of Krishna or Ram is so powerful that it can burn the material desire in our heart. And the more intense one is in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, the more quickly he is removed of the material desires. So pastime comes from Prabhupada, wherein he was in New Vrindavan in US, and then they were having this Janmashtami festival. So during one time, I mean, like we know that we fast till 12 o'clock in the night, midnight, and then we break the fast. So in this case, it was 12:30, and the devotees were very hungry, doing service throughout the day. But Prabhupada was in a different world, like he was so much absorbed in Krishna Katha. So when the program finished, Prabhupada said, okay, so now this is the most auspicious time of the appearance of Lord. So let's read Krishna book. And the devotees were like, Prabhupada, but it's 12:30. I mean, no one said like that, but in the mind they were thinking, okay, we have fasted throughout the day, but now again Krishna Katha for don't know how much time. So then Prabhupada told one devotee to read the chapter. So he read the first chapter. And as soon as the chapter finished, everyone chanted, oh, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So they thought, now it's over and then we can go for prasadam. And then Prabhupada said, and Prabhupada was, he closed his eyes and he was hearing this. So when the first chapter finished, Prabhupada said, okay, please next chapter. and then somehow they read the second chapter and then it was finished, and then there was again loud Haribol of Jai Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada opened his eyes, okay, now next chapter. And then when the third chapter finished, and when Prabhupada opened his eyes, he saw the devotees were like all fallen down, because of sleep. The sannyasis, the danda, the stick was down, and all the devotees were rolling upon each other. And then Prabhupada, when he saw this, he thought, okay, so I think devotees are very tired, so we should have prasad now. But we see even Prabhupada was fasting on that day, particular day, but we see he was so much absorbed in the pastimes of the Lord, in Krishna Katha, that material things was not affecting him. And even we see in the life of Parikshit Maharaj, when he was hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 continuous days and 7 nights, there was not a single time when he, drank water or ate anything. He was completely absorbed in hearing. And Sukdev Goswami, many times in between, he checks, he wanted to check whether Maharaj Parikshit really wants to hear, or he is like, so in between he says, do you want to hear more? And then he says yes. In fact, Parikshit Maharaj himself asked Sukdev Goswami to tell more and more. So, and we have different incarnations of the Lord to attract different kinds of living entities. As I mentioned, some people are inclined towards Lord Ram. Some people are inclined towards Lord Narsingadev. They like this fearful form of, Lord Narsingadev. And some people, they like, Krishna's pastimes. So we have this example in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, wherein we had this devotee called as Murari Gupta. So, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used to, preach the glories of Krishna very much. And one time he told Murari Gupta that, I order you that you should worship Krishna. And Murari Gupta was a devotee of Lord Ram. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that you should chant the name of Krishna, you should always remember Krishna, you should worship Krishna only. And then he was like, for him it was very difficult because he was devotee of Lord Ram. So he tried his best, and the entire night he was crying. And when Mahaprabhu told this, his entire night he was crying. He was praying to Lord Ram that, my Lord Ram, I cannot forget you even for a moment. But I don't want to disobey Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. So better is you take my life, because I am confused in these two instructions. So the next morning when Mahaprabhu approached him, then Mahaprabhu said, what happened? Why are you so sad? And then he revealed this, because I am in confusion. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so happy. He said, "Glorious is that devotee who never wants to leave his master." So he made this statement and said that it's not astonishing that Murari Gupta, you remember Lord Ram so much because you are none other than Hanuman. So he was the incarnation of Hanuman. He came as Murari Gupta, and that's from that point. From that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows that if you have an inclination towards a particular deity, you should continue that. Vishnu Tattva. If you have inclination towards any Vishnu Tattva, you should continue that and remember that particular Lord. And we also have an example of a famous king called King Kulashekara, a very striking example. A devotee, a very ardent devotee of Lord Ram. So he was a great king and he was very much attracted to the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. So much so that he used to hear every day the pastime of Lord Ram from the priest, from the Brahmanas. And what happened was, the problem was, he became so much attached that he somehow he started to lose interest in managing the affairs of the kingdom. And the ministers were worried, if he becomes detached, then what will happen to the kingdom? So they told the Brahmanas priest not to tell the pastimes of Lord Ram to Kulashekara. But when Kulashekara found out this, he was very angry. He said, "No, I want to hear every day." So somehow he was hearing every day. And one time what happened was, these Brahmanas were reciting the pastime of Lord Ram going to, kill some demons on the request of a sage. And as Lord Ram was going, now he is hearing the pastime from this Brahmana. Now when he was hearing, he got absorbed so much that he actually thought that it is happening just now. At that moment, Lord Ram is going to kill the demons. And in that mood, what he did was, he just called out all the soldiers, all the ministers, and told them, "Let's go and protect Lord Ram." And they actually went from the kingdom. So they went, and somehow these ministers, what they do, they came from the opposite side and told this King Kulashekara, "Actually Lord Ram has won and he has went home back. So he is victorious, so don't worry." And these ministers every day they used to think, how can we come out of the situation, because King Kulashekara is really losing the interest. And then when this story comes, Lord Ram crossing over the bridge to rescue Sita. So as we know that he crossed the ocean to reach Sri Lanka. So when this pastime came, again King Kulashekara became so much absorbed that he thought, "I will also go to Lanka." And then he ordered all the soldiers. And when he went, he reached the shore of the ocean, and then these ministers were telling, "You don't go, it's not there, it's just in the book, it's in the pastime, it's not happening." But he was so much absorbed, he said, "No, I will go." So of course this bridge has gone down now, so there is nothing to walk. So he just started walking in the water. And as he was walking, the water was rising up. And he was alone, because these ministers, they said, "Okay, I will not follow now, you only go." And then a point came when the water reached like this, and he was almost about to die. So that time Lord Ram came personally. And then the Lord Ram told him that, "Actually I have defeated Ravan and everyone is coming back, so you please go back." So otherwise, if the Lord did not have come, he would have lost his life. So we see this kind of absorption the devotees they exhibit. So in order to, once a devotee is able to exhibit such kind of absorption, then he is able to destroy all the anarthas. So this Ramayana, this pastime actually is narrated by Valmiki Rishi. And Valmiki Rishi, so if you go to the end of this beautiful narration, so we see Lord Ram had two sons, Lava and Kush. And Lava and Kush, because of some circumstances, Lord Ram had to send Sita to the hermitage of Valmiki Rishi, Valmiki sage. So Valmiki sage, he had these two sons, Lava and Kush, with him. And Valmiki Rishi, he narrated the entire pastime of Lord Ram to Lava Kush. But Lava Kush never knew that they are the sons of Lord Ram. So he narrated the entire Ramayana, Valmiki Rishi narrated the entire pastimes of Lord Ram to Lava and Kush. But Lava and Kush never knew that Lord Ram is our father. So Lava Kush, they had this service of telling the pastime of Ramayana to everyone. So their only service was to go throughout throughout their country and then tell everyone the pastimes. So when they were doing this service, one time they came to the kingdom of Lord Ram. And then somehow Lord Ram came to know that there are two boys who are singing the glories, Ramayana. So then he invited. And this Ramayana then was composed, like Love and Kush are telling the story. So it's amazing, they are telling the story of their father, and father doesn't know that Love and Kush are my son. Either the son know that, Lord Ram is my father. So in this Ramayana we see there are 7 sections. So it is divided into 7 sections. Of course, like it's such a big pastime that it will take so many days to explain. So we will try to cover whatever we can cover briefly. So these 7 sections are termed as Kand. So we have Bal Kand, we have Ayodhya Kand, we have Aranya Kand, we have Kishkinda Kand, we have Sundar Kand, we have Yuddha Kand, and we have Uttara Kand. So Bal Kand deals with the birth and activities, the initial activities of Lord Ramchandra, and also about his marriage. And then we have this Ayodhya Kand, which deals with the exile of Lord Ram. So if you see this photo in the middle, you will see Lord Ram in this dress of a mendicant. So this was the time when Lord Ram was in the forest. And then we have Aranya Kand, so which means the kidnapping of Sita. And then Kishkinda Kand, wherein Lord Ram searches for Mother Sita. And in this section, Lord Ram for the first time he meets Hanuman. Then Sundar Kand, we see Hanuman ji going to Lanka, and he finds Sita and then brings the message back. And then Yuddha Kand, when the actual war starts. And then we have Uttarakhand, where finally Lord Ram returns to Ayodhya and then he is coronated. And also Lord Ram had to banish Mother Sita to the forest, to the ashram of Valmiki. So we begin with the starting one, Bal Kand. So Lord Ram's father name was Dashrath, and he had 3 principal queens, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. So for a long time they did not had any son, and for a king, in order to give the kingdom to the next generation, he wants a son. So during those times it was that kind of environment. So Dashrath, he did a big sacrifice, and because of that sacrifice, each mother had son. So Kaushalya had Lord Ram, Sumitra had Shatrughan and Lakshman, and Kaikeyi had Bharat. So Lord Ram was the eldest of these sons. So naturally, the eldest son used to get the kingdom of the father. So that was the case, and Ayodhya Vasis, the place where Lord Ram took birth was Ayodhya. It was named as Ayodhya, and each and every people of Ayodhya was very happy. So in this book, it's the description of Lord Ram is mentioned, that Ayodhya is mentioned, and it is mentioned that like when Lord Ram ruled the kingdom, what kind of environment was there. So when the Lord Ram ruled, no one would suffer from any disease or mental disturbance. Everyone within Lord Ram's kingdom would be happy and prosperous, never fearing thieves, scarcity or hunger. All the cities and villages would be filled with abundant grains, fruits, vegetables and milk products. Indeed, the people would experience the same degree of pity and happiness that was exhibited during the Satyuga. There would be no natural disturbances like floods, earthquakes or famine. And all the women would be chaste and never suffer widowhood. Lord Ramchandra ruled the earth in this way for 11,000 years. So you can imagine by this description that why people, need such kind of kingdom, because so much opulence is there. So now Dashrath Maharaj, he was becoming old. So he wanted Lord Ram to take control of the kingdom. And everyone was very happy because Lord Ram was such an attractive personality. So naturally you want such person to be the king. And even all the other mothers. So Lord Ram was the son of Kaushalya. He took birth from Kaushalya's womb. But the other mothers, Kaikeyi and Sumitra, they were also equally happy, very much happy that Lord Ram is going to become the king. And there was a very joyous mood in the kingdom, entire kingdom. But then the problem came. There was one lady called the name Mantra. So Prabhupada mentions here the power of bad association. So even if a person is very righteous, he is very pious, he does good things always. But if he has the association, if he or she has the association of a wrong person, then that wrong person can create the entire environment. He can turn the entire environment to a negative environment from positive, and that is what happened. So that's why if you see Ramayana, each and every story has a lesson behind. As I mentioned, when Lord comes, he wants to teach people. He wants that people. Otherwise, for Lord Ram, why there was no like in the fifth canto, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that if you see Lord Ram's relationship with Sita, he's suffering because of Sita. It teaches us two things: that if in a material world, if you are in a family life, there will be sufferings, and the second thing is, you should protect your wife in every case. So Prabhupada mentions this point, 2 points very elaborately. And so we see that each and every pastime in Ramayana, the Lord is teaching something. Each and every story, the Lord is teaching something. So here, the Lord is teaching that, the environment is so good, everyone is so happy that Lord Ram is going to be the king. But then there is one lady called Mantra, and she was the maid servant of Kaikeyi, the mother of Bharat. And Kaikeyi was very happy that Ram is going to become the king. But Mantra was sad because she thought, I am the maid servant of Kaikeyi and her son is not going to become the king. So my status will be. So you see, even the maid servant, they have status. Prabhupada mentions that even a beggar is proud of his penny. So even they are competing with other maid servants. So she thought if Kaushalya if Ram becomes the king, then Kaushalya's status will be high, and the maid servants of Kaushalya will be having more status than me. So then she divides this plan. So Mantra thought that let me somehow convince Kaikeyi that she should ask Dashrath to make Bharat the king and not Lord Ram. But it was very difficult task because Mantra knew that Kaikeyi is very much attached to Lord Ram and she will never will do like this. So she slowly started to corrupt the mind. So she first, when Kaikeyi saw Mantra, Kaikeyi said, why you are so morose, sad? Everyone is so happy. So Mantra said, oh poor lady, you don't know what is going to happen with you. And then she said, but I am very happy, Lord Ram is going to become the king. And then she said, why, during that time, Bharat, the son of Kaikeyi, was not in the kingdom. Dashrath had sent Bharat to some other place to fight with some other people. So then Mantra said that, do you know why Dashrath has sent Bharat to some different place? He said, no, why? Because he wants Lord Ram to be king in absence of Bharat. Because he wants there should be no impediment. And then, of course, in the beginning, Kaikeyi was very angry that what are you telling? Lord Ram is such a pious king, Dashrath is such a pious person. But then Mantra slowly, it's very detailed that how she starts to, corrupt the mind of Kaikeyi. And because Kaikeyi was listening, so that's the problem. If you start listening to the dictation of a wrong person, then the power of bad association will show its effect. So slowly, Kaikeyi was, getting into this talk of Mantra, and she became totally convinced that okay, Dashrath wants to cheat me, and then she starts to cry, and as soon as she starts to cry, then Mantra understood that her job is done now. Now Kaikeyi is under me. So then Kaikeyi tells Mantra that okay, now that this is the case, so what should I do? Please tell me. Then many years before, Dashrath Maharaj was saved by Kaikeyi in one of the wars, and that time Dashrath Maharaj had given these two boons, two benedictions to Kaikeyi, and Dashrath Maharaj said that whenever you want, you can ask any two benedictions from me, and I will give you. So this kind of promise he has given. So Mantra reminded Kaikeyi that you should ask those two promise this time, and those two promise should be Bharat should become the king, and Lord Ram should be sent to the forest for 14 years. So this was the two things that Mantra tells Kaikeyi to ask. And just imagine, before that conversation, these 2 points would have been kind of such a nasty thing for Kaikeyi. But now after this conversation, these 2 points were nectar. It became nectar for Kaikeyi, and she became very happy. of course, like during those times, because it was such an opulent kingdom, so the palace, whenever the palace had different rooms, so if a person is happy, there was a different room. He used to go there, she used to go there. And if he is angry or she is angry, then he used to go to that particular, there is one particular room. So Kaikai went to this room where when one is angry, he goes there. When he is, So as soon as Dashrath Maharaj heard that Kaikai is in this particular room, he understood that Kaikai is not happy, she is angry. So then he said, what happened? Then he went there and asked that what happened? Why in such a good time you are angry? What happened? What I have done? And then she says that it's again very long conversation, but in essence she said that Dashrath Maharaj, I want these 2 boons from you. So Dashrath Maharaj said, these 2 boons, I mean only 2 boons, you can have any boons from me, I am ready to give any benediction to you. And then, so again, Acharya explains that one should not, without discrimination tell anything, or commit anything, without knowing the consequence that can come. So when Dashrath Maharaj tells this, then Kaikai tells that I want Lord Bharat Maharaj to become the king and Lord Ram to go to the forest for 14 years. And it is mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana that when Kaikai told these 2 points, so it was as if the life air went away from the heart of Dashrath Maharaj. It was like he lost his life. So when he heard, he immediately lost his consciousness and he fell flat in the ground. So after a few hours he woke up and then he just wanted to clarify, is it what I heard? And then again Kaikai said, yes, I want these 2 points. So again he fell unconscious. So like this it happened for 3 to 4 times. And then Dashrath Maharaj said that you take my life, I am ready to give, but don't ask these 2 points, these 2 benedictions. Because Dashrath Maharaj knew that without Lord Ram, he would not be able to live. And also the people of Ayodhya will not be able to live. But then, because, during those times, it's not that, okay, I have told you, now forget. Now in Kali Yuga, in this age, we tell, okay, I have given you promise, okay, no problem. But during those times, the promise had a lot of value. So if it is uttered from the mouth of king, then he has to follow that. And in fact, Dashrath Maharaj never went and told Lord Ram that he has to go. Somehow the news went to Lord Ram. So here the teaching comes. This pastime comes under Ayodhya Kand, like sending Lord Ram to exile. So when Lord Ram heard this, so we see that now again one more powerful lesson here, that we should be attached to the service and not to the facilities, and not to the position. So like for example, Lord Ram, one night before, the father told him that next day you will be the king. And when the day came to become the king, he is told that you have to go to the forest. So it is the Valmiki Ramayana explains that when Lord Ram heard this notice from the ministers, his expression was absolutely stable. He didn't show any kind of emotions. Like generally, if you are going to become a king and then someone tells you get lost, how will you be? But he was like absolutely calm, and because this was the statement from his father that he has to go, he accepted that as a service. So for him, ruling the kingdom was a service. For him, going to the forest is also a service. So then the Acharya explains that whenever the service comes from the higher authorities, then one should approach that. And one more lesson comes that whoever you are in this world, like we see this happened in the Treta Yuga. Now Treta Yuga is a very advanced age. It's not like Kali Yuga. It's a very advanced age where all people are so pious, and there is so righteousness throughout. So we see in such an age also, and with a personality like Lord Ram, who has never done anything wrong to anyone. So even such a personality can get reversal in life, and that too extreme reversals. So like if you read the entire Ramayana, it's all about crying. There is only crying. Like Mother Sita, if you see her life, it's like from beginning till end, it's only crying. Only in some part in between, in the forest, she was able to have association of Lord Ram, and she was very happy. So otherwise, if you see that there is always reversals. And this is an extreme reversal, like you are going to become a king. And Lord Ram never wanted to become a king for his own sense gratification. He wanted to become a king as a service to people. So of course he was sad in one sense that he will not be able to serve, but he was happy that he will be able to serve the desire of his father. So when this news spread, so of course people were so much attached to Lord Ram. When this news spread that he is going to be in the forest for next 14 years and Bharat will be the king, people were so sad. And it's not that Lord Ram chose during the day to go from the kingdom, because he knew if he goes during the day then there will be a lot of people, there will be a huge crowd, and so he left the place when everyone was sleeping. So we see even in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time that when he wanted to take sannyas, he just left during the night when everyone, even in Jagannath Puri when he wanted to leave to Vrindavan. So because they don't want like huge crowd following. So when Lord Ram also chose this time, of course, and he took few ministers with him, and it is mentioned that the next day the entire Ayodhya people were crying because like Dashrath Maharaj who thought his life is gone, the Ayodhya people also thought like our life, our soul is going back. So, and when Lord Ram was when he decided to go to forest, so it is mentioned that he didn't took much time to change the dress. So he was in royal clothes, and immediately he got this form. So he simple dress, and of course this punishment was meant for Lord Ram only. But when this news came to Lakshman and Sita, they also decided to accompany Lord Ram. But Lord Ram said, no, this is for me, not for you. So then this we see here in the life of Sita that she displays as an extremely chaste lady who wants to follow the husband in every case. So if Lord Ram a kingdom, if Lord Ram doesn't have a kingdom, she wanted to follow him. And then Lakshman we see as an extremely faithful younger brother. So of course Ram did not wanted both of them to come, but they insisted that if you don't come we will die. So please allow us to come. So then he was very grateful to them and he told, okay, you can come. So when Lakshman was leaving the place, the mother of Lakshman, Sumitra, she approached Lakshman and said that, Lakshman, when you are doing service to Lord Ram, you should never see the face of the Lord. And Sumitra said, because if you see the face of the Lord, you will be too much attracted and you will not be able to do the service. So that verse shows that how much beautiful Lord Ram was, so attractive. So Sumitra gave this instruction to Lakshman. And if you see the life of Lakshman, he was like all the time too much. Of course, Lakshman represents the Balram. He is Balramji, and he represents the the spiritual master, the Guru. So the Guru's service is to assist Lord Krishna or Lord Ram. So Lakshman, he demonstrated that throughout his life. So during the 14 years, it is mentioned that Lord Lakshman, he didn't sleep for even a single minute or a single second. So all throughout the 14 years, he was awake. Like during the day, he was always seeing Lord Ram's protection, and during the night, he used to, guard his cottage. So like this, throughout the 14 years, he didn't sleep. So that was the extent of service that Lakshman did. So when they went out of the kingdom, so the minister Sumantra, he accompanied Lord Ram and Lakshman, and then they went out of the kingdom and they went to the forest. So now in the meantime, when this was happening, Bharat Maharaj returned to the kingdom. Again, Ramayana explains the characteristic of Bharat Maharaj. Very interesting that Bharat Maharaj never ever had thought of becoming the king. But somehow his mother, devised all this plan. So when he returned and when he saw all this thing happen, the first thing he did was he chastised his mother. That how come? Because he knew that my mother can never think like this. So there must be some other person who had done this. So then he came to this mantra, this lady, and then he chastised both of them. And immediately Bharat Maharaj left to bring Ram back. So it's like a very many verses where it describes the meeting of Bharat and Lord Ram. Very interesting that how their meeting took place, again in very detail. But in short, when Bharat Maharaj he reached the place where Lord Ram, Lakshmana and Sita were staying, so then Bharat Maharaj he brought the entire army. And what happened was when Bharat Maharaj reached his kingdom, Ayodhya, Dasarath Maharaj had already left his body. So he has mentioned like he was, he could not bear the separation from Lord Ram and he left his body. So Bharat Maharaj also wanted to take this message to Lord Ram. So when Bharat Maharaj reached this place, so then Ram said that why have you brought such a big army with you? So for the initial few seconds, Bharat Maharaj could not say anything, but then he somehow disclosed that our father is no more, and then there was silence, and Lord Ram finally was very he cried, and after all this Bharat Maharaj told Lord Ram that now because you came here because our father wanted, now he is no more, so you should come back and rule the kingdom, and that is what everyone wants. So at that point of time, even Kaikeyi's heart changed, because she thought Bharat would be happy to become the king, but when she saw that Bharat was miserable, he never wanted to become the king. So Kaikeyi also decided, she will bring Ram back. So the entire Ayodhya people, Ayodhya came to, bring Ram back. So when Lord Ram heard this, then he said immediately, no, I will not come. Because my father's last desire was that I should rule, I should stay in the forest for 14 years. So I will come exactly after 14 years. Before that I will not come. So everyone tried. Kaikeyi tried, Kaushalya tried, everyone tried, but didn't succeed. Then Vasishtha Muni, the great saint in the kingdom of Lord Ram, he came forward. And he said that, I am a Brahmana and I am your family's saint, so you should hear me and you should come back and rule Ayodhya. That's my order. And Lord Ram, being very humble, he said, very, very beautiful point, he said that when I was a small child, when I was just born, I was very helpless, and the only people who helped me was my father and my mother. And there was no other person, and you were also not there that time. But for the entire 1 or 2 years, when I was helpless, they were there to protect me, take care of me. So my father's last desire was that I should be staying in the forest for 14 years. So how can I disrespect him? So how can I disrespect him? So I should follow him. And when Vasishtha Muni heard this from Lord Ram, he was very pleased. And he said, Lord Ram, actually I was testing you. I knew that you will not come, but I just wanted to test you. And then finally it was settled that, okay, Lord Ram will stay in the forest for 14 years and Bharat will rule the kingdom. But Bharat Maharaj said that I will rule only in one condition, that I will not sit on the throne. Instead, I will keep your, the sandals on the throne and I will rule from outside the kingdom. So it is mentioned that for the 14 years, Bharat Maharaj lived the life exactly as Lord Ram. He also removed his royal clothes and accepted the simple clothes. And for the 14 years, he also ate only leaves and fruits. And he lived as an ascetic, like having matted hair, sleeping on the floor, ground floor, and he was living not in the kingdom but just outside the kingdom. So the name of the place was Nandigram. So he was living there. So for 14 years, he just imagine, he has the facility to rule a kingdom, and Ram is not there. He can enjoy the opulence, but he prefers to stay outside the kingdom and live the life exactly like Lord Ram. So that's why it's like in Treta Yuga, people have such pious, such extreme qualities. So I mean, if it is not that we have to follow exactly, those the qualities that people had those times, but the principle is we have to follow the essence, like simple life. So that shows simple life, simplicity, and truthfulness. So all these qualities that the Lord exhibits, so we have to follow in essence. So Bharat Maharaj then ruled the entire 14 years kingdom of Ayodhya from outside. and then this is from the Ayodhya Kand, and then when Bharat Maharaj left the place, Lord Ram and Sita. So the Acharyas explained that one of the internal reasons for Lord Ram, there were like external and internal reasons for Lord Ram to stay was, one of them was Sita, Mother Sita, because she was, when he was in the kingdom, she was not able to get association of Lord Ram, personal association, private association of Lord Ram, and she had this intense desire to have personal association, and by this arrangement she was alone with Lord Ram in the forest, so she was able to have very good association. And the other reason, when Kaikeyi meets Lord Ram in the forest, Kaikeyi, of course, because of her, Lord Ram was banished. So she was very, very sad, she was crying like anything. And then Lord Ram told Kaikeyi that, I am telling only you this thing, this point, that, all this thing happened because I wanted that. Because of this punishment, so-called punishment, I will be able to accomplish my mission. So there was another mission, that was to kill the demon Ravan. And this was only disclosed to Kaikeyi. Why? Because she was feeling so much, sadness, and because of her. And then she understood that Lord Ram is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then she felt a little bit, relief that, okay. And then Lord Ram proceeded towards, towards a place called Nashik. So there were many different forests they went, and this meeting with Bharat Maharaj happened in Chitrakoot. So if you visit this place, so interestingly in India, there are, wherever Lord Ram was there, still you can find, these traces of, like Chitrakoot place is there, the Nasik place is there, and even in Lanka, the temple is there still. So you will see footprint of Hanuman there. So, but unfortunately still people, they think it's a mythological, it's a myth, it's not real. Even though, recently NASA also discovered this bridge, it's underground, connecting India and Sri Lanka. But still, it's difficult to believe. And that's why Krishna says that one who understands my birth and activities, he will be able to, just go out of this material world. So it's very difficult to understand the Lord's activities. So then they reached Nasik, and so again I will cut short. So here we see Lord Ram and Sita and Lakshman, they were living very happily. But then one day, the sister of Ravan, Suparnaka, she comes. And when she sees Lord Ram, as I mentioned, Lord Ram was extremely, attractive. She got attracted and she wanted Lord Ram as husband. So Lord Ram, when he, in that particular incarnation, he had taken the vow of Eka Patni Vrata, that is, he will have only one wife. During those times, kings used to have many wives, but Lord Ram had taken this vow. So when Suparnaka approached Lord Ram, he said that, I cannot marry you, and have my beautiful wife Sita. Better you marry Lakshman. So then she directs Suparnaka to Lakshman. And when she approaches Lakshman, he says, in comparison to Lord Ram, I am nothing. So you are coming to the wrong person. You should go to Lord Ram back. And when she goes to Lord Ram, then there is confusion, where to go. And in this confusion, she becomes very, angry. And she displays her actual, form, like a demoness form. And she starts to, attack Mother Sita. So as soon as she does that, Lakshman, he takes a knife and then just cuts her nose. So that's why this place is called Nashik. So Nashik, it comes from this nose. So, and as soon as, Lord Lakshman cuts her nose, she just runs from that place and approaches Ravan. And then she tells the entire incident to Ravan. So Ravan is a demon, it's a very fearful demon. And then when he hears that, he becomes very angry. But Suparnaka does one thing. She starts to describe the beauty of Mother Sita to Ravan. So she starts telling that how Mother Sita is so beautiful. And the only person who should have is you, my brother Ravan. So she tells like this to just, incite Ravan. And he becomes very, that's the power of hearing. So you can be attractive to material things also, you can be attractive to spiritual things also by the process of hearing. So here Suparnaka used the hearing process to somehow, incite Ravan. And then he decided, okay. But Ravan knew that Lord Ram is not an ordinary person, he is a very powerful. So he decided to play some trick and capture Mother Sita, kidnap Mother Sita. So then what he did was he took the form of a Brahmin, and there was one more demon called Marichi. So he told Marichi to take the form of a golden deer. So and Ravana tells that Marichi to just go near the place where Lord Ram is there and attract Mother Sita. So as soon as Mother Sita would desire you, Lord Ram will approach you to attack you, to capture you, and then I will go and kidnap Mother Sita. So when this plan was made, they went there, and it is mentioned that as soon as Mother Sita, because golden deer, generally you don't see that. So Mother Sita was very much attracted. Oh, golden deer, I have never seen in my life. So Mother Sita wanted to have this. Now some people, foolish people, they mention that Mother Sita wanted to taste the flesh of the deer. So you see, such kind of interpretations are made. That's why Prabhupada mentions that one should hear pastimes from the right source. If you type in Google all these pastimes, you will get hundreds of interpretations. So one should be very careful. So one should read from the right source so that the pastime is heard properly. So when Mother Sita saw, so she told Lord Ram, I want this deer. And Ram was telling, are you sure you want this? Because remember Suparnaka, she came few days before and she attacked. So this place is not so safe. But she said, no, I want this. I want in any case. So Lord Ram tells Lakshman that, okay, I am going to catch this deer, but you take care of Mother Sita. And so Lord Ram goes to attack this deer, and Lakshmanji is with Sita. So when they go to a distant place, then this Marichi, according to the plan, he shouts that, Lakshman, please save me. Sita, please save me. So that Lakshman also leaves the place and Sita is alone. So somehow Mother Sita tells Lakshman that, see, we have Lord Ram is calling. He is in desperate help, so please you also go. But then Lakshman, he remembers the instructions of Lord Ram, and he knew that in any case Lord Ram will never be defeated. So Lakshman tells Sita, please be quiet. I know that nothing can happen to Lord Ram. So you please be calm. But Sita says, no, Lord Ram is in danger and you should go and somehow protect him. So finally Lord Lakshman, he agrees, and then he tells Mother Sita, he makes a kind of protection, and then tells Mother Sita that you should not cross this line. You should always be inside. So the Acharyas explain this pastime that when a living entity is attracted to the golden deer, it represents the material sense gratification object or material objects. So when a living entity wants something other than the Lord, then what happens? First, you go away from the Lord. But the Guru is there, and you also don't want the Guru. So Lakshman represents Guru. Lord Ram represents the Supreme Lord. So because Sita was attracted by this material object, this golden deer, she first of all lost the Lord, and then she also lost her Guru. And what happens when Guru and Krishna is not there in your life? Yeah, Ravan comes and kidnaps. So as soon as both of them went away, Lord Ravana came in the form of Brahmin, and he asked Mother Sita, please, I want some food from you, and you look like a chaste lady, so you should give me. And then Mother Sita, initially she thought, I will not go, but as was planned, she somehow went close to this Brahmin, and Ravana kidnapped Sita, and she took. So the Acharyas mentioned that when we succumb to material sense gratification, we lose the connection and we get trapped. So then Ravana took Sita, Mother Sita, and went towards the kingdom of Lanka. Now in the meantime, Lord Ram, he came to know that this Marichi was not, this deer was a false deer. It was an illusion, and it was none other than a demon. So then he thought there must be some danger. And then he started approaching Mother Sita, but then he met Lakshman in between. And then Lord Ram thought, okay, now there is some calamity going to come. And then when he approached his own hut, he saw that Mother Sita was also not there. And then he started to cry. And it's mentioned that he was crying like a small baby, how small baby cries. So Lord, as I mentioned, that Ramayana is full of crying. So, and he started to cry a lot. And then Lakshman somehow pacified Lord Rama and said, okay brother, now let's find, where is Mother Sita. So then they start their journey to find. And they reach a place where they find a eagle vulture lying, called Jatayu. His name was Jatayu. So then he asked what happened, and he was killed. So Jatayu said that, sometime before, Ravana, the great demon, was taking Mother Sita. And it is mentioned that when Ravan was taking, Jatayu was a very old creature. And because being very old, he was not able to fight with Ravan very fiercely. But he tried his best. And when he was fighting, Mother Sita told, you please don't fight, you just take the message to Lord Ram that I am going in this direction. So we see Jatayu had this opportunity to save his life, and do this service, but instead he was ready to sacrifice his life, to do service to the Lord. And in that fight, somehow he was killed, and Lord Ram with his own hand he performed the final rites for him. And then they went ahead to search Mother Sita. So then this when they were approaching the place, when they were finding Mother Sita, they came to this place of Matanga Rishi. And there was a lady, very old lady called Shabri. So Prabhupada mentions this point that Shabri was a very old lady, and she belonged to a very low caste. She was the daughter of a hunter. And during the day of her marriage, when she was about to get married, because they were from the hunter background, just one night before they were having this party, the other people, they were killing animals. And she was naturally very much soft-hearted, and when she saw that, she just left her house and went to the one-to-one sage, Matanga Rishi. And then she surrendered to this sage and said that from today onwards I am your disciple. And then she served in with the sage for many years. And when the time came for this sage, Matanga Rishi, to leave the body, so he took all the disciples except Shabri. Shabri said, why are you leaving me? I also want to come with you back to Godhead. But Matanga Rishi said, I cannot take you, but in the future Lord Ram will come and visit you one day, and then you will be delivered. So it is mentioned from that day onwards, she was living in a forest, and every day she used to clean the place, clean the road, so that Lord Ram, there will be a very good route for Lord Ram to come. So like this, it's not that she did for 2 days, 1 week or something. She did for years and years, decades and decades. Just imagine some personality tells you that Lord Ram is going to visit you one day, and you don't know when he is going to visit. But every day you are thinking that he is going to visit me today. So she made every day same arrangement exactly as if Lord Ram is going to come. And it is mentioned that because she was in a forest, she took some berries, blueberries, so that Lord Ram can eat. And because some are sweet and some are not so sweet, so she used to taste half, and whatever was sweet, she used to keep. Of course, we cannot imitate that because we offer the Lordship's, we don't taste when we offer. But in this case, she was doing this because she was in a Raganuga stage, in spontaneous devotion. She could do that. And finally, after many, many years, many decades, Lord Ram visited her. So it is mentioned that when they visited, so there were many, many different sages living in that place. But Lord Ram chose this Sabri. And that shows the Lord is beyond the caste concept. Like if you are from higher caste, then only I will visit you. Because Shabri was not from higher caste, he was from very low caste. So when Lord approached Shabri, Lakshman was not so much inclined, because he thought he was one outcast lady. And when Lakshman saw that this lady was giving these berries, which was already tasted, so he was not so happy. Lakshman was not very happy. And he said, Lord Ram, you should not eat this. And then Lord Ram made statement that I have never eaten anything better than this in my entire life. So when he tasted these berries. So that shows that Lord Ram was actually tasting the devotion of Shabri. And when this happened, immediately after that Shabri, went back to Godhead. Because her Guru Maharaj told to wait for that moment, and when that moment came, Lord Ram blessed her, and then she was delivered. So this is the end of the Aranya Kand. So after this we have different sections, but I think we will not be able to cover it. So basically after this, then Lord Ram meets Hanuman, and from there onwards they start to build up this army. So I will just like to tell the size of the army that Lord Ram had. So of course Lord Ram had this army of monkeys. So in Valmiki Ramayana it explains, like Ravana wanted to know the estimation, how many people have come to fight with me, and then one of the person from Ravana's army, he describes this, that how many monkeys are there. So he starts describing the Vedic system of counting. He says that 100,000 is 1 lakh, 100 lakhs equals 1 crore, 1 lakh of crores is called a Sanku, and 1 lakh of Sankus is called a Mahasanku. 1 lakh of Mahasankus is called a Vrinda, 1 lakh of Vrindas is called a Padma, 1 lakh of Padmas is called Mahapadma, 1 lakh of Mahapadmas is called a Kharwa, 1 lakh of Kharwas is a Mahakharwa, 1 lakh of Mahakharwas is called a Samudra, and 1 lakh of Samudras is an Oga. 1 lakh of Ogas is called a Mahayoga. And this person explained that in Lord Ram's army, the monkeys consisted of at least 100 crores of Mahayogas. So if you calculate in terms of numbers, it is 1 followed by 71 zeros. So that was the strength of the army. So many, and they all were devoted to Lord Ram. So in fact it's mentioned that Lord Ram could not, somehow satisfy these monkeys. So in the next Krishna Lila, he invited them to, taste this butter. He used to call the monkeys, you see the Lila, where he calls the monkeys to, because I could not satisfy you that time, so in Krishna Lila he satisfied. So of course it's such a huge, and very instructive story. So maybe in future, in seminars we can cover this. Lord Sri Ramachandra ki Jai. Now we can have Aarti.